Hi friends, welcome back to Calm in the Chaos Homeschool. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how everything is going for my 8th grader. Right now we are approaching the end of our second term in our homeschool. I like to divide our school into 3 terms, and so we're about 2/3 of the way through the school year. And I just wanted to share how everything we are using with her is working. So if you're new here, I just want to let you know that I am homeschooling 4 kids who are in 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade this year. And my last 3 videos have been what we were doing in our morning basket, what we were doing as family subjects, and then I covered my 6th and 7th graders, independent work, and then the group work that I do with just my 2 boys, so my 6th and 7th graders. So today I'm going to be covering what my 8th grader is doing, and primarily she does these things independently. I give her a checklist like this at the beginning of each week. It has all the subjects and what I want her to finish by the end of the week. And then at the end of the week, I will check it, and we might meet on Tuesday because I can't meet on Mondays, but we might meet on Tuesday and go over any corrections, or if she's missed anything, I might have a conversation with her on the weekend or at that Tuesday meeting. But primarily she does this on her own. And then before I get too far into this, she is also doing mostly 9th grade level work or high school level work. As far as credit goes, I'm going to figure that out as we go along, but I'm keeping track and I am grading at this point just to make sure that we have the credits if we need them at some point. So first of all, I'm going to start with Bible because that's the first thing on my list here. She is just going through this right now. You Are Beautiful and Courageous, a devotional journal for girls. It's very simple. It's 2-page spreads. She's almost done, so I don't want to show you any of her work, but that is sort of what it looks like. And so just a little passage to read and then a little bit to write on the side here. Like I said, she's almost finished this. So I have a pile of devotionals, especially for girls, that I will probably let her pick from once she's done this. So if you want to see my research into devotionals for young teen girls, I will link that video below. Basically, I did research and I chose this one for her to do this year, and I'll let her pick from the pile that I have once she's finished this. She probably has a few weeks left of this, but she's almost done that. Before I get too far into this, I always forget to mention, I will link links to all this curriculum that I mentioned in the description box below, so you can check that out if anything interests you and you want to be able to look at it further. Next, for math, she is doing Algebra 1 from Denison. So this is the student workbook. It is very thick. Denison is a video lesson, so it is online. The teacher teaches the lessons. What I like about this is the teacher teaches the lessons, and as the teacher is teaching, the student is going through and filling out questions. So they have a little teaching area here, and then they have some practice questions here. So they go through the questions together, and then they have like you try it sections where the student is encouraged to do on their own. And then they have an assignment, so they do some of these on their own. And then they have an answer key. So the students have an answer key where they can go and check their own work and see if they're getting things right or if they're getting things wrong and why. And in the answer keys, they do write it all out. So they write the whole answer out so they can see where their mistakes are. So I do really like that about Denison. He teaches them to do all the steps, to write down all the steps, to not cut corners. This has been working well for us. I definitely want to stick with Denison in the future. I don't think that there's going to be a better math program for us. That being said, it still isn't perfect. We still did struggle on some units. We did have to pause once in a while and just spend a little more time practicing certain concepts. The last 2 chapters she's done, 6 and 7, she's actually done really well, so we didn't have to pause. But at the very beginning, we had a problem with the order of operations, so I picked this up, 80 days of pre-algebra, order of operations, to get that more solid. And so this is something that I'm just using on and off. If we have a day I don't want her to complete a lesson in this, because maybe we need to slow down in that, then I just give her a lesson in this, so she's still doing some math that day. So I've had to definitely pay attention to how Denison has been going for her for Algebra 1. I do have to make sure she knows what's happening before she takes the test. And we have had to go back and reteach some concepts. But I think that Denison algebra is really the best that we can do for her situation right now. And it's been going pretty good. We are, I would say, a little bit behind on Denison, but they do give you 15 months to access the video lessons, even though it's meant to be a year course. And so our intention is to hopefully finish it by the end of the 15 months. Like I said, she is currently in 8th grade. She'll be going into 9th grade, so we have plenty of time to slow down in math. And so that's what I plan on doing. I plan on just slowing down in math. Even when we finish Algebra 1, we might take maybe a little break. Maybe we'll keep refreshing Algebra 1 concepts before we move into geometry. Yeah, I'm probably not going to have to decide that until at least early next school year or maybe mid next school year with the rate that we're going. But I have liked Denison algebra. I do recommend it, as everyone else does who has used this program. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone who really disliked this program and it really didn't work for them. So that's a good solid math program. Once you hit pre-algebra, it works for a lot of students. Okay, so next we go into language arts. So I have a little pile here. Her primary language arts this year is Clearwater Press's cover story. This is supposed to be leading her through creating like a magazine. So they're teaching her how to write a bunch of different types of articles. I do have a full look inside and review, and I talk about some of the issues that we had with this and some of the things you might want to know before you purchase this. However, she has enjoyed this. It's been a lot of creative writing, which I think she prefers. So that has been fun. I think we're pretty on course to finish this by the end of the year. It might be one that I have to focus on and make sure that we prioritize in order to finish, but I do think we're going to finish it this year, and I think she has liked it. It is video based as well. You can get streaming or you can get the DVDs, which we got because it's from our parent partnership program. So they like to have physical DVDs. And so she's been watching those lessons and doing her assignments in here. Each day usually looks something like this. So she'll watch the video lesson, and then there's a little bit of teaching area, and then there's a little bit of writing. And that's it. So 2 pages on that. Sometimes there's 4 pages. Sometimes there's extra assignments. There are quizzes. That's why I would encourage you, if you want this program, to check out my video that I talked about this so you're just aware of the setup. The setup is not super intuitive unless you read the teacher's manual, which I don't always do. So there are some surprises when we started this program. It is meatier than I expected. I expected a lighter program. It is intended for maybe 6th through 9th graders. So you can use it for high school, but it's more of a middle school program. And there's like 72 lessons. So you think that that's not going to be many lessons, but there are additional projects and stuff that I wasn't aware of. It also comes with this. So this is the remarkable journal of Professor Gunther von Steuben. This is the teacher who teaches these lessons. He is very creative and dramatic, and I think he really appeals to the right crowd, the middle school crowd. He kind of jokes around and has kind of a fun sense of humor. But this is something that she's writing in daily. It's creative writing pieces. So just like very short writing prompts, writing a bunch of adjectives, writing a bunch of questions, just keeping the ideas flowing. So that's something that comes along with the program that she does daily. Oh, I forgot to mention, this does have some grammar in it, but it is primarily writing. There are only 12 grammar lessons. They do come with video lessons as well. They just cover the basics of grammar. And so I am having her do that. It's just 12 lessons. So she's doing some grammar in that, but I would not call that a grammar program. So for her grammar, she is doing Fix It Grammar Book 3. So this is Robin Hood. If you've heard of Fix It Grammar before, basically each week they're going to teach a new concept. Towards the end of the year, they are reviewing. So they have a page teaching a new concept each week. And then they have 4 days of a sentence where they are picking out different parts of the sentence. So they need to find 2 articles, 6 nouns, 2 pronouns, 4 adjectives, 2 adverbs, 4 main clauses, 4 subject-verb pairs. They need to indent, they need capitals, they need commas, they need quotations, they need end marks, they need to find a homophone, and then they have a section here where they rewrite the sentence correctly. So that has been working really well. We just do this every other day, and I just have her do 2 pages a day. So we'll probably be finished that with a lot of time to spare by the end of the year. So this is very easy to finish. It is not 36 weeks. I think each one is a little bit different because they are writing out a whole story. So it just depends on how long the story is. This one goes to week 30. So week 30, and there's 4 lessons in each week. We should be done that pretty soon. All right, and then she just finished Wordly Wise book 8, and so we are starting Wordly Wise book 9. This is just vocabulary. If you haven't heard of Wordly Wise, generally at this level, they will have 15 new words. What I like about Wordly Wise is they don't just tell you one definition of a word, they tell you multiple definitions of a word. They teach you different forms of the word, and then they have 5 different activities, different sorts of activities to kind of practice using those words or finding the meanings of those words. So we have analogies, we have images of words, and then there's reading comprehension as well. So that is Wordly Wise, and that is what she's doing for language arts this school year. Okay, so next let's move into the realm of history. For history this year with my 3 younger kids, we are doing ancient and medieval world history. I have her primary curriculum here, but I'm also mushing together Bookshark G. So Bookshark G covers the same time period, and basically I use the readers and read alouds for all 3 of my kids who are doing this history period. And then for my 2 boys, they are doing the core history for that Bookshark F. So she's not doing the core history for Bookshark F. She is primarily using Guest Hollow's Whirlwind World History. Now, this is a 1-year world history program. However, it works perfectly for us because with Guest Hollow, there's always a lot to do. So we are going to be using this over 2 years. She's going to get a early world history credit, and then she's going to get a modern world history credit next year. So this year we're working on early world history. And so we are using a lot of this. This is the workbook. Guest Hollow has an online textbook, and within the textbook, so you're reading the textbooks, they have inserted YouTube videos to explain the concepts in the textbook. So we really like that. And then they have this workbook to go along with it. So as she is watching the videos, she is completing this workbook. So what I like about Guest Hollow is I really like their workbooks. They have a variety of different activities. They have color, they have true and false, they have fill in the blanks, they have some pages for note-taking, they have some additional things to look up. So there's a URL to look up, and it says draw a night. They have a map work as well, and so that is all included in the worksheets. So she does these worksheets, and then whenever we get to a new week in history, I will print off the teacher guide for her. I will actually print off a revised teacher guide. So I will have what I want her to do on here. So basically it's telling her what to read on the online textbook. There are a bunch of activities here, and I just have her choose one for the week. So she gets to pick which one she wants to do. So she does one of those. And then I also have a reference book section. So when it is the reference books, what she is doing is she is mostly looking at these 2 beautiful reference books. She's looking at this one, so Art That Changed the World. She is looking at Smithsonian's History of the World in 1,000 Objects. And Guest Hollow has this scheduled out, so what pages she should be reading for that period of time. And so I just add a 6th day onto this. On the 6th day, when she's done that week of work, she reads these 2 resource books, and then she draws pictures and writes about some artifacts that she finds interesting. So this is a book of centuries. It's sort of like a timeline book. It's a little bit different. It has a blank page on this side for art, and then it has lines on this side with the dates. And so she's drawing different pieces of art, and then she's adding information about the art on the time period that that art was created. And so she's just kind of working through that as we are going through Guest Hollow's Whirlwind World History. Occasionally other books are scheduled, and so she's also been reading Augustus Caesar's World, and so this is scheduled in Guest Hollow, so it'll just tell her what pages to read in there. And then Guest Hollow and Bookshark have recommended readers, read-alouds, and things like that. So she is doing her own reading for history. She's not joining me when I'm reading to the boys. I'm reading to the boys, either we're listening to an audiobook in the car that goes along with our history, or on the Mondays and Wednesdays when I have my two boys, I am doing read-alouds with them. So what I'm doing for her is I'm giving her only one book at a time, but I'm giving her more of a larger amount of reading that would normally be assigned for just one book. I'm not doubling up on reading or anything because that would be too much, but maybe like 1.5 times what would normally be scheduled. That's kind of what I'm doing. And so we're just dropping some books from either Bookshark G, and we're not doing all the Guest Hollow books. So sometimes I let her have a choice. I say, here are a few books, like pick 2 of these books that you would like to do. So we're not reading every single book that's suggested. So some of the books that she has read this term, well, she hasn't read this one yet, but she's going to read this one soon. She's waiting for this to be available as an audiobook from the library. This is Mary Slessor, Forward into Calabar. This is more geography related, and so I'm going to talk about geography next. So this is based in Africa. This was a really great book. I really enjoyed this. I like the Christian heroes now and then books. Some I like better than others, and this one I really, really enjoyed. So we listened to it, me and the boys listened to it in the car as an audiobook, and so she couldn't borrow it at the same time. So now she's waiting for her turn with this. So she's going to be going through this one soon, and that's more of a geography pick. This is another geography pick. Listening for Lions, also Africa. I think it's about a missionary girl whose parents pass away, and then she's put in a situation where she's living with a family that doesn't have the greatest morals. So I don't know too much about this, but this is a geography book that she has read. So she's read this one. It was one that she picked when we were studying Africa. So the next books are more history books. She has read The Tale of Troy. This is a Guest Hollow suggestion. I think it's just the story of the Trojan horse. So little book there. Next, she read Mystery of the Roman Ransom. We read Detectives in Togas, maybe our first year of homeschooling. So this is like a sequel to that. So based in Roman times, which is the period that we are covering right now. I think we're moving into medieval times though. Currently, she is reading the IDs of April. I don't know. Both of my boys have read this, and she's reading that one now. So this one is also based in Rome. And then her next book is going to be either Mary Slessor, or she'll be reading Outcast. So this is, obviously, it looks more like a kind of in the middle of Roman times and medieval times. This is a Roman trading vessel. But I feel like we're getting more into Vikings, barbarians, that sort of period with this book. So those are some books that she's reading right now, or has read, or will be reading pretty soon. Next, we have geography. Now, she is doing history, and that is her primary focus of this year. She is mostly working on early world history. However, we have been working on Guest Hollow's high school geography and cultures for 3 years now. And I wanted to keep going with this. So we started with Southeast Asia at the beginning of the school year. We did a lot of Asia last year. So a lot was Asia, the Middle East, and Asia. So this year, we started the year with ending Asia with our Southeast Asia section. Then we moved into Africa. And the next one we're going to be doing is Oceania. So Australia, New Zealand, Pacific Island area. So this is something that I might assign her one lesson a week, and we just go through it very slowly. I do get a whole bunch of books from the library when we start a new section, and the kids get to pick which books they want to read. So for Oceana, we'll probably pick like 2 books to read about things set in that area. So once again, it's another Guest Hollow curriculum. She's very close to the end, so I don't want to, really, she has just 2 pages left in her workbook. So she's going to be starting this back up. We took a little break because we were still in Africa and I still had some reading to do about Africa. But next week, I think she's going to start on Australia and New Zealand. So she goes and she reads the online textbook, watches the videos, fills out the workbook, and does any reading that I assign her. So basically, that's what we're doing for geography, just a tiny bit of geography this year. Okay, so I have her pile here of science books, and the reason why it's a pile of books is we are also doing Guest Hollow for science. She is doing chemistry in the kitchen. So this is her chemistry workbook. The same thing, when we get to a new week in Guest Hollow, I will edit everything to make it so that she has all the information she needs and nothing extra. So she is reading a few different books right now. So for we're on week 7 of this. Now, the reason why we're on week 7 here in the middle of the school year is we ended up with a 2-hour chemistry class at our parent partnership program this year, and that was unexpected. And so she's doing 2 hours of chemistry once a week in a classroom setting. So I only assign her 3 days a week in this course. So that means that we're probably going to be continuing this next year. And so we'll just be doing another year to finish up chemistry, which is fine. Like I said, she is ahead in her credits, so that's not a problem. Guest Hollow's chemistry also does come with a 4-week supplement. If your child has very little experience with chemistry, then they recommend that you do this 4-week supplement. So we did do that as well. So if week 7 is more like a week 11 for us, but like I said, we're going to take our time. I was planning on taking a 1.5 years to finish this course, but I think probably will be closer to 2 years at this time. But when you see the books that she's reading and stuff like that, you'll understand why. So there's a variety of different things for her to read here. So it says here, read What Einstein Told His Cook. So she is currently reading this one here, this book. So she reads a chapter or a few pages in there. And then they have different activities or recipes here. And once again, I have her choose 1 a week. So she gets to pick which one she wants to do. And they have some activity notes here on the same page. So activity notes based on what activities you do. And then here's Dr. Joe and What You Didn't Know. So here's another book that she's been using. These are short little questions about just food science sort of stuff. So, and actually I could probably call this food science and also chemistry. Yeah, if we're doing 2 years, I can come up with 2 different names for this course. And then she has been reading Culinary Reactions. I'm not sure if she's done this one. Like she might be finished with this one, but we did start with this book here. So there's that book. We have Napoleon's Buttons, 17 Molecules That Changed History. So another book that she is reading or will be reading kind of throughout this course. And there are more books that are not here as well. We have The Mystery of the Periodic Table. So another book that she has been reading. She might be done some of these. I'm not sure. I need to go through her thing and check. Here's a very short book that's scheduled in one of these weeks pretty soon. She is going to read The Story of Salt. There is a full version of this, like a big version of this, but I read this with my boys and I felt it was very informational. It is a picture book, but I felt like she has already a lot of heavy reading to do, so I felt like that was fine. So at this point on her shelf, she has these books, and there are more books that she doesn't have yet. So there's a lot of reading with this course. I don't think she minds the reading. I think she likes Guest Hollow curriculum. There is no online textbook for this. So these are the textbooks. These books are the textbook. And they do have worksheets. So there's worksheets, and it's like, here it is, What Einstein Told His Cook, read chapter, what chapter? And so she has to answer questions as she's reading that. And then there's Dr. Joe and What You Didn't Know, some questions to answer about that. And then there's Napoleon's Buttons. So there's questions to answer about that. And so it does keep the student filling out worksheets so that you know that they are doing the reading and they are at least understanding some of the basic concepts. So that is Guest Hollow's chemistry. So quick note on just guest holo curriculum. She doesn't express a lot of opinions about her schoolwork. She doesn't usually say, I like this or I don't like this. She remains pretty neutral, but she has mentioned that she does like guest holo curriculum. So I think the literature-based thing is working for her. That is what I prefer. And so far it seems like that's something that she is fine with. I think she really likes the online textbooks with the videos inserted, and she likes the workbooks. And so far, guest holo curriculum has been working for us, which is great because that is one of my favorite curriculums. Okay, so next I have my pile of electives. Before I go into this pile, she did start the school year. Well, we did about half of a school year of Mandarin. She started Mandarin 1. I would say she started her Mandarin 1 credit last year, so that was 7th grade. She's been doing pretty high level, not high level, but high school level Mandarin. I did have 3 books that I was using to teach her Mandarin because I do speak Mandarin. And I was reached out to by Legacy Online School. And when I researched into the school, it's basically a private online school. And they have a ton of variety of courses for kids of all ages. And so I really wanted to try them out. And so she did half of Mandarin 1 with them. And I really liked that. I liked how they had things set up on their programs. I liked the different activities they had. She had to record herself saying things and send it to the teacher. They had different activities where she had to draw things like family trees and things like that. She had to use the characters. So I felt it was really interactive. I really liked how they taught Mandarin. But it was a lot, and I was trying to get her finished like the first half of that Mandarin 1 in a short amount of time. And then I decided at the end of that half year with Legacy Online School, because she's been doing Mandarin with me, she definitely had her full first credit of Mandarin. So we're taking a break from Mandarin. She has a lot of interests, and she has a lot of electives, and she has a lot of work here, as you can see. And so I wanted to give her a break. She still does Duolingo like every day in Mandarin. We are going to take a trip to Taiwan in March for 3 weeks. And so hopefully she'll be able to use her Mandarin there. So she's still working on Mandarin. It's not like she has stopped completely, but we're just taking a break from the formal Mandarin lessons. She also meets with a tutor once a week online. This tutor is in Taiwan, and so she's still learning Mandarin with her. So she's still doing Mandarin, just not so formally. Okay, so I have 3 electives here I want to show you. She has been working on this, drawing with water, soluble, and graphite pencils. We did slow this down when we were doing Mandarin just because there's several courses here. So we did slow this down, but we're starting to pick this up again. This is a half credit course that I just spread over the year. So right now she's doing 2 lessons a day, and there's 9 weeks, 4 lessons a day. So she shouldn't have a problem finishing this up, just doing 2 lessons a day. And sometimes I'm going to slow it down to 1 when I start adding in more geography and stuff like that. And one course that she finished last semester is this. So photography for teens. This is a half credit high school course. I have a whole video talking about this course, so I will link that below. And the people who have this course saw my review video of this course that I did for Timberdoodle, actually. I did it for Timberdoodle, and they liked my review. So they asked me if I would want to get her another course, and then I could review it at the end as well. And so they have quite a few different courses. They have life skills. They have, like, this is photography. They have YouTube for teens. They have graphic design. And so my daughter was interested in YouTube for teens. So she's really excited about going through this course. We are just starting this. She's maybe done the first lesson out of 12. So there's like 12 weeks of lessons. And so she's really excited about getting into this course. And I've heard really good things about this course. So I will be doing a full review of this course probably when she's done the course, once we know how things have gone. But these are also video lessons, and then there's a quiz, and then there's extra features and things to think about. There's like this one has a deep thought section. So they have a video and just has the child thinking about different things. So I'm very excited about this course and what it might teach her about YouTube and having a YouTube channel and things like that. Maybe I'll learn something from this course. So I totally forgot that we were going to add one more elective this semester, and we haven't started it yet, but we are getting very close to starting, and that is Beyond Personal Finance, Design Your Future. Sorry, there's a bit of a glare. I don't know too much about this yet, other than it is video lessons, and there are 20 lessons, and the student is going to be brought through maybe 40 years of their life, making decisions, and then their decisions affect their future and things like that. So that's all I know about this so far. I'm excited about getting started, probably next week, with my 2 girls actually. So I will be making a full look inside and review and flip through of this once we have started this. So if you're interested in that, stick around. So that is everything that my daughter has curriculum-wise. She's currently not doing any extracurriculars outside of the house. She was doing dance, so like hip hop at the end of last semester. She started out with cheer, and that was like a youth sport in the area. Next year, it becomes a school sport, and so she actually has tryouts for cheer in early March. So she's really excited about that. She really enjoyed doing cheer, and so we're looking forward to doing that. Probably when you see this video, it'll be like a week from now. But yeah, so that's everything my 8th grader is doing. If you like videos like this, please don't forget to give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the links below for any of the review videos that I mentioned that I have, or the playlist for all the other videos that I've put up in the Term 2 series. I will link links to everything that I mentioned here also in the description box below, so you can check them out. So thanks so much for coming today, and I hope to see you all in a future video. Bye, everyone.